Rudy, how are you? How are you, sir? It's good to see you. So good to see you smiling there. Yes.
Superman.
Look at that. That's right. Wow. You have and the exoskeleton. Yes.
Lefties better watch out.
Yo, that's right. You have the real armor of God there behind you with the crucifix, and well, have a little extra armor. I just have to start off by asking, everything good with you, Rudy?
Everything is good, Benny, but I want to tell you how much I admire what you did for Charlie. I couldn't go because I couldn't move at that point. I can move a little bit now, but I still can't travel. It's about 2 weeks. But I watched the whole thing. I mean, it was like, I'm an old guy. I remember the Kennedy assassination. It was like the Kennedy assassination weekend, except for a much older guy. And I value friendship above everything else. You're a good friend. You're a good friend. God bless you.
I just want to defend my friend. That's what the last couple of weeks has been about. We've been pouring all of our energy into that. There have been many people who have been trying to tear him down and to lie on his name. And so we want to make sure that there's a penalty for that, a punishment for that. So we've been doing our best to carry a big stick and be an enforcer. And I just want to defend my friend. He defended me when I was indefensible. And so.
Well, of course he did. Yeah, he was an unbelievable guy.
Yeah.
Yep. During going through that hell, very often many of us felt alone a little bit at certain times. When you watched The Weekend and the whole thing, you realize there are a lot of us. We're not alone anymore. We're hardly alone. We can't complain. It's just a few of us.
Right. And most importantly, we have God on our side. That was the most viewed. Here's the way that I'm approaching the media with this important fact when they ask about the event with Charlie is that it is the widest seen apostolic event in human history, because hundreds of millions of people were able to listen to the word about Christ, the testimonies of the president and Don Jr. Listen, Rudy, you know the president and you know Don Jr., and their faith is private, right? And they don't normally talk about it. When was the last time you saw Don Jr. and Donald Trump speaking about their faith in Jesus Christ, our Lord, on stage, live, in front of 100 million people?
And JD expressed something that I used to feel. It's a while back, maybe 10, 12 years ago, earlier on when I was in politics. I was always a little embarrassed to talk about my religion. I don't know why. I'm not embarrassed of my religion. Maybe it's because of the separation of church and state that is imbued in us. And I studied to be a priest, and I can talk a lot about religion, and I enjoy talking about it. In my leisure time, only thing I talk about more than religion is sports. So I bore people sometimes. But it took me a while. I think September 11 got me out of it.
Well, if you
September 11, as soon as it happened, I turned to God and I said, "Hey, stop it, you arrogant jerk. This is too big for you. It is too big for you." And I said to Bernie Kerik, "We're going to have to make a decision. And every time we decide something, we're going to have to say, God, please make it right. We're not smart enough."
You just hit me in the
heart. God's been a very big part of my life.
You just hit me in the heart, Rudy. You just remind me that we've lost Bernie, and Charlie, and Hulk Hogan, and so many of the people that assisted in 2024 election. It's been a painful year, actually, and wow, it's hard to process. Okay, so you studied to be a priest. I didn't know that. Would you bless us, Rudy? Would you bless us by potentially exorcising a demon on the show live here by telling us about RICO law and by explaining how through RICO law, how could we dismantle left-wing terroristic organizations?
Well, Mike was just on with you, and Mike is, I think, one of the best in understanding it. RICO should have been used a lot by us, even when the president came into office the first time. It's exactly what it's for. The Democrats have set up businesses of crime. The Bidens, for example, with their own crime business. I can probably identify Antifa is a terrorist organization. It's a crime business at the same time. RICO was written as a statute by Professor Blakey of Notre Dame to go after the business of crime. He said, we're putting all these mafia guys in jail. New ones come along. We don't have any impact. We're helping the line of succession. It'd be like somebody knocking off English kings and another English king takes over. Let's go take the property of the English king, and we don't have an English king anymore. So RICO, the civil aspect of RICO is more important than the criminal, but doesn't get the attention. Maybe the biggest thing I did isn't the conviction of the 5 heads of the families. I took Las Vegas back from the mafia with Joe DeGenova and a whole crew of people. And we did it by going after the Central States Pension Fund, which is the union of the Teamsters. Through the Central States Pension Fund, Jimmy Hoffa and the mafia owned Las Vegas. And if you watch the movie Casino, it'll tell you the whole story of it. So we went after them. A judge gave us a board, threw out the Teamster board. Joe ran it for 9 years and reinstated a clean board. And now the Teamsters, oh yeah, they have all the problems other unions have, except this year they finally came back to Republicans. And they're a good union. They're a decent union. In fact, most of the private unions nowadays are a heck of a lot straighter than the government unions.
So how would you use RICO in order to wrap up left-wing terrorists today in our country?
Well, every time I prosecuted them, I would put together 2 or 3 of their crimes. I show how they were connected. I charge RICO, and I go get a restraining order on all their bank accounts. And I'd get orders from the court and from the grand jury to search all their economics, foreign and domestic. And look at all the money the Black Lives Matter women made, the Marxist transgender women who took up race really as a sidelight in order to make money. They were trained as Marxists. I'm telling you what they tell me, but what they tell us in their books. I'm not making it up. I'm just reading their words. Patrice Cullors is a very proud, trained Marxist. The training was on gender, how to undermine our morality on gender, which is part of one of Marx's many goals. All of a sudden, race came along. They helped in a racial demonstration, made a fortune, and they decided to go to race. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. They had to bring in other people. They brought in some Black Panthers who were paroled by left-wing judges, and they brought in Antifa to be their muscle. And that's how you get 2020. And they walked away with a fortune. Yeah. I mean, she went and built a $3 million house. They go on $1 million vacation. I mean, they were acting like high-level communists all do. They were all multimillionaires before they became high-level communists.
So with Antifa, what is because you have this very unique position here, Mr. Mayor, where you've been federal prosecutor, you've experienced the terroristic element of violence at scale, and I believe that that's what we're seeing in this country. And we have a handy chart here. We can pop it up, but I actually had it printed off. The difference between left-wing violence and right-wing violence here in this bar chart. And it's not really hard to make a case. There it is too on screen. That left-wing domestic terrorism is the single largest domestic terrorist threat in America today. Obviously, 100%. The last 30 days has proven this. And I don't know how many more bullet shots to the head on our president or on our generational leaders like Charlie Kirk that we got to get in order to wake up to this. So what would be your message to Republican lawmakers and law enforcement officials on potentially using RICO to take this out?
After all, the RICO statute is a federal statute. If I were Pam, back in my old job in the Justice Department, I would hold training courses for all the U.S. attorneys on how to utilize the RICO statute. You can't believe how available it is. And you can even, when you don't have a strong enough case, you can even go with a civil RICO case. For example, we didn't use a criminal statute to take the Teamsters back. We used a civil case. We just took all their money. And they didn't get their money back until they got rid of organized crime. So Antifa is a strange organization because it's not like the mafia. It's not one big organization. It's separate organizations that affiliate with each other. Andy Ngo can tell you the ins and outs of it. He can sit down for me. If I were going to do a RICO case, I'd get Andy and we'd do a chart. That's how I took Mike's shirt off. He was a kid then, and I did a chart of the mafia. And 3 years later, there was no commission. So I would do a chart of everything we know about Antifa. I'll tell you another thing I would do. I hope the statute hasn't run. I'd go after them for January 6th. I have every reason to believe they were tremendously active in January 6th. I have every reason to believe it because I have text messages saying they were, that the government ignored. Even our people on the committee ignored it. I mean, even the Republicans. The Republicans ignored some of the most damaging evidence against Joe Biden. Comer does his whole report. He doesn't mention in the report that Hunter, in a text, in his own writing, said, for 30 years, I've given 50% of all the money to Joe. That ends the money problem. It's called, in the law, it's called an admission. It's admissible. Judges will tell a jury it's more effective than a confession because it's not coerced, it's volunteered. And there must have been 5 of those in the hard drive that I produced. For some reason, Comer ignored all of them. The most powerful evidence you could get. How about the following? In 2019, Hunter and his psychiatrist, Keith Ablow, say the old man's demented. We had that before he was elected, on tape. And we go 5 years, 4 years debating whether he's demented or not. We got his son and a psychiatrist saying he's demented and making fun of him. Yeah, nobody knew that. Why would we can't be that stupid to miss it. We don't want to make things too bad. The Democrats exaggerate and lie, and we hide the truth from people.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It does seem like there is going to be some truth dropping. However, the reports are that Letitia James in your home state of New York is going to be indicted along with James Comey. Yep, that's right. Along with James Comey, potentially John Bolton for having classified documents, James Comey for lying to Congress, and mortgage fraud for Letitia James. Exciting. It's going to be an exciting little week lined up. We'll see what happens. But in closing here, I'd like to just get your takeaway thoughts on this. Too little, too late, or do they have it coming?
No, never too late. Justice delayed is justice denied. Well, maybe, but it's still justice. I mean, we the New York City Police Department, of course, of which I am in love with the police department. 5 uncles who were cops. I ran it. It was my police department for 8 years. I worked with it as U.S. attorney for 12 years. The New York City Police Department never closes a murder case. They have murder cases open from the 18th century.
Wow.
Because of why? Because we're part of Western civilization, because of the value of human life.
Joe Biden could be a suspect.
And there's no,
Mr. Mayor. Has anybody ever checked on that? Does anybody know where Joe Biden was?
Benny.
Where was Joe Biden on the night of 1861? Where was Joe Biden? In the 5 boroughs. You gotta ask. It
happened maybe 2 or 3 times when I was mayor. They'd come in, and you know what they would do? They'd add the murder to my year. Here I am I am a politician. I want the numbers to go down too, substance and performance. And then all of a sudden, we're doing great. No murders for a week. And some guy in 1860 got killed, and they put it in my numbers.
Oh, that rascally Biden family. We'll just blame it on them. So yes, parting words, Mr. Mayor. In closing here to Letitia James. Letitia James, I'm sure you have a wonderful relationship with her.
The president's little kick, which I would describe those texts as a little kick to the Justice Department.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, get moving. I wish they start using the real statutes now. Look, getting Letitia James on mortgage fraud is good. It's even a little better than getting somebody like on tax evasion, particularly because of the hypocrisy of it, right? So she goes after Trump for a non-mortgage. She goes after Trump for a fraud where there's no laws, which is a contradiction of a fraud, and they're going after her for a fraud in which she stole tax money and regular money. That's a lot better. The really big crimes, though, the one I'm really interested in is James Cardinal Comey. I am very, very interested in getting him because statute probably has run on Pfizer. That was a much more serious crime than people realize. I helped to develop the Pfizer court, and it was a sacred duty to do that affidavit because every other search warrant affidavit that I did as a prosecutor, the defense lawyers ripped it apart. The other one is completely secret. You're dependent on me, my credibility. The judge is depending on me, my credibility, the prosecutor. And it was drilled into our heads by the attorney general at the time, Edward Levy. This better be honest, or I find anything wrong here, I'm going to, first of all, even if it's a mistake, I'll just take you out of this kind of work. You don't belong in it. He knows that. I trained him, Comey, so I have a bit of a personal feeling about it. And that was a horrible thing he did. He knew how bad that was, and he did it 4 times. Can't be a mistake. He did it after he knew they had cut off the money to the guy because he was lying, and he kept putting him down as a source to invade the privacy of the president of the United States. I don't know. That gets close to treason.
Well, we'd love to see those charges. Mike Davis was on saying that he's already contacted a tailor for a 6'6" jumpsuit, orange jumpsuit. So we'll see. What a nice guy Mike Davis is. What a nice guy America's mayor is, Rudy Giuliani. Hope to take in a Yankees game with you one of these days, Mr. Mayor. They did a beautiful honor of Charlie Kirk.
Gonna be.
They were the first bald team to honor Charlie Kirk, and I was like, wow, how that's profound. What a beautiful thing to do. And I love your Twitter banner here, which is UN Charlie. And God bless you, Mr. Mayor. Everybody follow.
God bless you, and
Mayor
give
Giuliani.
give the family my love. They were a great credit to America. One of the most beautiful ceremonies in American history, I believe.
Yep, and the #1 largest apostolic event for Christ, and Charlie would have wanted it that way. God bless you, Mr. Mayor, and America's priest. Maybe I'll start calling you that too.
Oh no, please! I might have to hear confessions. I used to hear confessions.
That's exactly what this all was. Thank you, Rudy.